this particular day, like this is a really, really big update. It's a 2, 3, 4% type of day. And you're still getting, right? You're still getting like no follow through on this big up day. This was a really, really big one too. But then, right, the next day was a gigantic, just blunkin, the gigantic blunkin. So now we've had like this big reversal day, especially as the market was fading off most of the day. We had a big reversal day. The Fed did come out and say they're not really looking at like 0.75% rates, but you can't really take any of that into account when you're trading. Like it doesn't really matter. It's just more interesting to hear. So we'll see if we get any follow through. Theoretically, the play would be like in a normal year, the play would be to red to green this market to buy the opening dip, especially because you had so many fucking plays that kind of cruise up to the upside. We don't know if that's the case anymore because we just haven't seen that type of action before where we have had follow through days, right? Let's see what's going on. Let's take a look at the earnings plays. There are a bunch of stocks that had earnings out. And then yesterday, there were a bunch of stocks that also had earnings out that I think will have like kind of day two follow throughs potentially. Let's take a look and see what we got going on. We are in the teeth of earnings season. So like even when things are like just dicey, they're still working. If I could turn back time. CMO, this is a buyout. ICPT. And this thing has been always a pitch to trade. I wonder if we get any follow through on this. Company announced a sale of outside of Enzo Pharma for $400 million. So they sold something here. I'll add that to the list, but I'm not sure if this actually holds. You're already seeing this thing fade off a little bit. HTSN, this is a blast from the past. So you have earnings flash reports, Q1 earnings. Hudson reports Q1 earnings 0.63. Hey, so like if you like a little bit of a smaller type of stock, this is going to be, these are the type of earnings breakouts that you would want to play. You got like a gap that's coming out of like a big range. Earnings beat, but the issue on something like this is more of a liquidity thing. In the teeth of like a really nasty bear market, you don't really want to be trading this kind of stuff. Like it just doesn't give you the heat that you need. Comscope, adjusted earnings decline, revenue increases, blah blah blah. Earnings flash. This is probably something too, like if the liquidity comes in, you can do it. So what you really want to do on these, because like you don't want to make this like your damn focus for the, you don't want to make this the focus for the day, because what ends up happening is I posted the link in the wrong thing. Hold on, fuckers. That was my bad. Yeah, this might not add the liquidity. So what you want to do is like probably run a scan like maybe 30 minutes into the day. See if it's still holding up. Like, you probably want to see at least 1 million shares of volume in there. And then, if you go in for like a secondary play, these China stocks are all getting pummeled again. I didn't see any news on them, but they're all getting nasty again too. Run. So Run has earnings out. Sunrun widens loss in Q1. How do you lose money selling fucking solar? Fucking everybody and their uncle's fucking selling solar. Sales jump, revenue guidance, blah, 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 blah. This one is like tricky for me because see like how you're like kind of running, gapping up right into resistance. You can do something like this, but you need to have, it's got to come back over that 50 SMA. In the bear market, like a lot of times these MAs that you just run into, like these levels of supply, they just fade off so damn quick. So that one would really need a lot of work. Loosey goosey, junk. Crocs. So Crocs had earnings out. Crocs earnings, revenue increases. How their revenues always increasing? Who's fucking wearing these things? I really like to know. Who in the world is advertising to society that they have smelly feet and they wear rubber shoes? I would like to know that. They got to be all in Florida, right? It's got to be a Florida thing. Like, no good God-fearing Christian man from the Midwest, like a great state like Michigan, would be doing this. Let's add this. This could work because, like, see, like how you're kind of clearing out over these levels over here. Might be worth a shot here. It's come down a long way too, right? So this could be like a little bit of a bottoming pattern. I wouldn't put too much faith into it. A lot of these earnings plays really have not held up. Like even AMD faded off its gap yesterday because the market was getting shifted over, and then it ramped back later. Let's add it. I'm worried about the liquidity on it, frankly. I think it could get light in there. Socks. Let's keep jump. Soundhound. Who has used a little Soundhound before? So this thing is an IPO. This has been, had like a big down day and then kind of grinded higher yesterday. You could this is probably still in play. It's meandering around, but I think that one is the liquidity died off quite a bit. Pass. It might be okay, but that one's going to give you some shakeouts. What I mean by shakeouts is like, see how like you already started to get tails on this thing. It looks like stress. Twatter. Not much you can really do to Twatter. It's a buyout. UT. Energy Transfer Equity. So oil and gas names are still hot here. You have a breakout that's starting up in Oxy. The old highs like maybe 63-ish. Oxy does not work very well when you chase it on gaps. Usually with Oxy, and this is true just in oil stocks in general, when they kind of fade back and they start to grind a little bit, that's when you want to kind of come in on these things. I've seen this with Oxy, quite a few times. Like it works better like when you kind of let it grind for a few and it like settles and then you take it off versus like, trying to chase it up. Just a little word to wise, but that's a really good look to it. We've got another 3% move in oil. So like you see, you're starting to come out of this range over here. Test. So you've got yourself like kind of a nice, coil pattern that is coming out of, and you're starting to peek its head here. You don't want to chase a 2% gap up, but if oil starts to make its move, right, you could trade the ETF if you want. UCO, I'd rather just trade, you could trade the oil futures contracts, you can do the minis, the regulars, there's all sorts of oil futures contracts. If you have a Ameritrade account, your account's probably enabled for it anyways. And those are fucking fun. Like you can get some good damn range on those. And you can make a lot more money trading futures than stocks when you nail them right. But then also on the other side, fucking they're stressful. Because like every penny the futures contract goes up, like your P&L is like fluctuating like $1,000. But they are cool. Futures are really good for people that have small accounts too. There's no pattern day trade rule, and they have micro futures contracts. So they have contracts that are like 1/10 of a futures contract. So you don't get that crazy up and down. And so like you can have like even like $2,000-$3,000 in your account, and you can day trade the micro futures of really any commodity or any market index. It's a great way to just grow your account sometimes if you actually know what you're doing. Hey, some of these other oil stocks, it's only a matter of time before they get picked up. Like these things have been basing out for a while. It's just a matter of time before they get picked up. But, what happens is like, if oil starts to really, really go cantankerous, these will get going. Like they'll get going at some point. It's better to just kind of chase those things up for a while because otherwise if you're buying them, they're just stuck in range, then they're not going to do anything, right? So it's better let them come in hot and then come in after. Twilio had earnings out today, I believe. Yes, they did. Just Twilio price target at 220. So everybody's adjusting their price targets, of course. to 250 from 510. Hey, good job, guy from JMP. This thing was a fucking $500. He's like, hey guys, 250 looks good now. Hey, this could work. It's come down a long way. I worry about the liquidity on this one too. It's going to be like Crocs. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know how much heat it's going to have at the open, because I've tried to do like ORBs on this one in the past. And when you have like that, when you have a little bit of a higher price and then less liquidity, you know, the spread on it really gets you. So like you start trying to slam like, you know, 2,000 shares on, you know, some ORB or something, then they pull the bid and all of a sudden you're fucked. So that's going to be something to just be mindful of too. And you guys, by the way, like, you know, you should come in like, you know, on your TC2000, you know, you can make a tab for like upgrades and stuff like that too. So like, you know, if you want to, you know, check on, you know, upgrades, like you can just go into Jason. Notes, news. Yeah, so you can go into like different types of notes, and like if you just want like the upgrades or whatever, EPS revenue, blah 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 blah, analyst ratings. So then like what you can do, and then just like stick it like in a corner somewhere. So like say this, like, you know, you can hit this button over here, hit move, and then, you know, you right tab it over here, and so now you've got yourself right. Now you got a tab of just upgrades. You know, if you want to like see like what's going on. So you do what you do here is make sure you don't connect the symbol, but then do all instead of the specific ticker. And then you'll start to see all the upgrades that come in. So like, you know, if you have like any kind of major company or something like that, like a lot of these will be junk, right? But, you know, usually like if it's like, you know, AMD, NVIDIA, right? Like a bigger company, you get like especially if they get 3 or 4 upgrades in a row. That usually does kind of make these things move a little bit. Let's add this to the watch list. I don't know if this thing has any liquidity in it for us, but frankly, it's probably going to have some good range. We'll see which way it goes, but I think that's something we got to add too. Let me see here. Jump. All right, add Oxy to the watch list. All right, let's see on the downside. SGLY, this thing had some news out. Thing will probably open up. I don't know what the news was, but these sometimes those little guys, they're possible to even get the borrows on them. Vimeo. Who doesn't want a nice? Who doesn't want a nice $100 Vimeo TV? Earnings, Vimeo, post revenue, blah blah blah. You know, this is going to have no liquidity on it either. The liquidity in the market's going to shit. Shop. Now this I can get down. Look, if this thing loses 400 at the open, and it may just do it right off the bat sometimes, that could be fucking hot. Let's add that. The spread on this will be fucking Gennard. It really will, but yo, if this loses 400, let's take this thing down. Do you guys remember the last time it had earnings yet? Fuck, we caught a fucking monster ripper on it. Where was this thing? Yeah, the last time it had earnings out, it was in the $600, $700 range or whatever. And dudes, like it followed through for days. This thing, like when it drops, like you can drop hundreds of points on it. Obviously, it's much cheaper now. But you can come in real hot on this thing. Like this thing had some nasty follow through for days. Last time it had earnings out, you know, this is Canada's most valuable company, by the way. The Canadians are just not doing us our market any good. This can put a lot of pressure on the markets too. Obviously it's down 15%. So you know the entry will have to be picture perfect. This is our play. Let's see if we can get it. Let's see if we can get some action on this thing. What the fuck? I think that's hot. W, same type of look. Well, ain't that some shit? So we got shop, we got W. Okay. And then we got Etsy, all at key levels. These are all, I think these are all hot for the open. Sprouts Market. This thing's open up at the 200-day moving average. This is going to be a liquid too. Max Linear. Man, so this is like, oh, this is a buyout. DOCN. Yo, this is kind of hot too. You know, you got a level over here. I don't know if that's going to have any liquidity, so it's not as a big priority. I'd ORB that thing if the liquidity comes in. FSLY, fuckers, there's nowhere to hide in this market. You know, when these things are like 100 fucking bucks, 150 bucks, like having bad earnings at $13, $14 should be pretty much expected. Ain't that some shit? Dude, why not? Fuck it. FSLY, Etsy, shop, W, Twilly Ho, Crocs. There's a whole host of these going now. Let's do this. I don't know if we really need much else here. Let's take just a quick gander. This W might be super juicy. Tupperware, day 2. Charles Rivers Labs. No, I don't have a read on it. I don't have a read on that one. All right, let's talk about just some day 2 plays here from yesterday. Facebook had all the relative strength yesterday. You can see like 207 to 220. It's also one of the only stocks that's actually above its MAs. So I think you want to keep that one. UPST was a remount and a relative strength play yesterday. It was before, even when the market was taking a shitter, guys. This thing was up 6-7%. It's got some heat on it too. Second relative strength play. Third one, AMD had a remount also, right? You had also a remount on this one. If the market holds, this is probably prime time candidate for red to green. That's a day 2 play. Starbucks is a day 2 play. Big remount. It actually had good range for, like, considering it's like Starbucks, you don't really think it would be doing much. It had really good range. No wicks, no shakeouts, no crazy candles for some of you old timers, you know, with the arthritis in your fingers. You can't bang on those boards as fast as you used to. That Starbucks, that's just a nice, that could be just a nice, easy play for you for a day 2. If the market holds up, I think the rest of this shit is junk. Let's leave it alone. We got all these earnings plays. I think these 3 are the faves. If we need a long, we've got Oxy, and then we got the day 2 plays, the relative strength plays, AMD, Bookface, UPST, Starbucks. You may even want to throw in some Moz because they had an inside day yesterday after earnings, but That thing is a little bitch to trade sometimes. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. There's no ifs, no buts, no boots, no coots. There's no what about this, no what about that. This is the perfect list. This is a good God-fearing Christian list right here. That's the list. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Hey, Garrett, man, it was good having beers with you yesterday, brother. Hit me up today if you're roaming around. Cool. That's the list. I'm sticking to it. Guys, yesterday was hot. The day before was not. So today, let's make sure we make some good darn trades. Alex, you owe me a visit. Get down here. All right, let's do this, folks. If I could turn back time.